Alrighty, here we are. What is it? Thursday night. Big hairy news and only one subject matter to be talking about tonight. Kia ora and good evening, Chewy. How are you, mate?
I am fizzing. This has
At the
been
bunghole.
amazing.
Fizzing at the bunghole?
This has been amazing. I would not have guessed at 8 o'clock last night that would be looking at pretty much a complete implosion of National. I can't say I'm very surprised at how it happened with Judith shooting from the hip and going absolutely bananas, and giving everybody about 13 hours to tear apart what she was saying.
It was fascinating watching what happened. There's a thumbnail on this video we're doing, and we are live streaming tonight. So if you're watching, you're more than welcome to chuck a comment in there, and if it makes sense, we'll get to it. I did find this hilarious. It's not a meme; it's a picture of Simon Bridges, and I thought I had to use it because he looks like the happiest man in the world in this image. So this is our thumbnail for this video, and he's giving the thumbs up and he's doing finger guns, and I just thought, man, if someone tries to shank you out the back of the prison cell, this is like the sweetest evening. He must be popping champagne. I'm not even saying even if he doesn't like get leadership, but he must be popping champagne and doing finger guns all over Tauranga, because what an absolute fuck up by Judith Collins.
Yeah, that's one happy yak farmer, if ever I've seen one. I quite liked Radio New Zealand's choice of image this morning. I don't know if you saw that on their story. That classic picture of him sitting like this, looking really sad. And I was like, someone's done very well picking that picture.
You got to be careful this day and age, don't you? If you get memed, and then you get to have that thing forevermore last on the internet for as long as it can.
Absolutely. Hey, one of the things that struck me is this was a very Judith Collins thing to do, and that I don't think she's ever really been a particularly savvy political operator. Yeah. She thinks she is, but I mean, one of the comments that I saw last night was, why would you do this at 9 o'clock on a Thursday night and just give that much time to 9 o'clock the next morning for people to really dig into and see, how many people can reporters get on the phone and get on record? How much of this is true? What's the backstory? Where has this come from? Who's involved? All of that sort of thing. By the early bulletins this morning, everybody knew the major players and knew that it wasn't what Judith said it was. I feel really shitty about Jackie Dean, to be honest. She's just giving off a massive aura of not wanting to get dragged into this on something that seemed to have been dealt with at the time.
It is particularly interesting, and I put a tweet out this morning, which I'll bring up. One of the things that's interesting about it is we hear often from the right. Now, the right in New Zealand is different to the American right, but the right in general, that it's the left that do things like cancel culture, quote unquote cancel culture, and they're the guys who go back through your tweets after 10 years, and this is a left issue. Yet it seemed to me today that the Nats are now becoming a so-called woke brigade, cancelling people for past indiscretions that have been addressed and apologized for. So Simon Bridges did something pretty scummy and pretty several years ago. Bill English addressed it. He apologized for it. I guess I'm understanding that the apology was accepted. And then Judith thought that she could cancel him like 5 years later on the cusp of her getting rolled. It's like, it just feels like the worst. I don't know. It's the worst movie shanking I've ever seen.
It's so transparent, though. There was so much talk going around that there was a leadership challenge, on the horizon very, very soon. And she's obviously gone, I'm screwed, but I've got this thing in my back pocket that I think is going to just tip it my way. And I'll come off as a strong, effective leader. I'll look like I'm addressing the problems that the party has had before over bullying culture and misogynistic stuff happening in the background, and I'll look like I'm supporting women. And it's just like everybody's seen straight through it. Yeah. It's like she's weaponized the things that they should actually be looking at and dealing with. They've ripped through so many MPs in the last couple of years with pretty disgraceful behaviour. It blows my mind. Like if you were serious about it, if you were serious about cleaning house and National, surely you'd look at Michael Woodhouse.
Yeah.
And the bullying that went on with him. But it's never been mentioned.
No, but I think the point is it's transparent, isn't it? So for people who have had their head in the sand for the day, and if you are watching live now, you're more than welcome to add a comment. If we can get to it, we will, because we are actually live streaming. It's 16 past 8 at the moment. Judith Collins has been rolled as national leader after 499 days. She was dumped after a 3-hour caucus meeting attempting to discipline Simon Bridges when her attempt to discipline Simon Bridges backfired. The current deputy leader, Shane Reti, has been installed as the caretaker. And then a few people who might be seeking the job. I thought we might watch this little video here because it's interesting. It's when Shane Reti came out to the media. It's only like a minute and a half long, and actually said to them how it happened. Because what it sounds like happened is Judith, saw something coming. She tried to hit it off on her own last night with no input from the caucus. Yeah. And the caucus got together this morning and was like, what the fuck? Come on, what's going on? So let's just play this and people can have a listen to it. And then we'll go from there. As I said, comments are welcome. We get an advert or something.
The National Caucus met this morning to discuss a press release issued last night about an allegation of an historic comment made by the Honourable Simon Bridges towards the Honourable Jackie Dean.
Funny having the word honourable in there.
The caucus was concerned with the content of the press release and the process by which it was issued. The caucus moved a motion for a vote of no confidence in the leader, and that motion was successful. As a result, the Honourable Judith Collins is no longer the leader of the National Party.
Honourable.
And according to party convention, I have assumed the role of interim leader until the caucus meets again on Tuesday to choose a new leader. On behalf of the caucus, I'd like to thank the Honourable Judith Collins for her valuable service to the party. My job at the moment is to shepherd and guide the caucus through to their leadership decision.
I'd like to thank the Honourable Judith Collins on her valuable contribution to Labor's next campaign. Isn't that about right?
Pretty much. I mean, I think that's where I'm torn. As a left voting guy, Judith Collins has been amazing for the things that I think are important. I think on the other hand, though, she has given a lot of oxygen to just some absolutely vile people. And I think has made overall the political discourse much, much worse every time that she's inputted into it in a time where, hey, look, good opposition is important because there's so many things so many important things being discussed, and we're not expecting people to agree all the time. But it's not business as usual. We're in the middle of a pandemic. There's big decisions being made. We want to see at least some consensus across the parties that we're doing the right thing, rather than Judith setting, which just seems to be being contrarian about everything.
Look, I think you're right when it comes to sort of being a good person and a politician, but I wonder about the game of politics, and I think the game of politics is what Judith played so poorly. And I think that at one stage she was like, we're behind the mandate, and then like it felt like within days there was a press release or there was a postcard sent out by National talking about we have to be free by Christmas. And it feels like, they talk about populist politics. It feels like Judith Collins, and I guess you probably have to say the caucus because it's not just her, but under her leadership, never really took that line of exactly what she wants to do. Does she want to actually come alongside the Prime Minister and go, yes, we disagree on lots of things, but we're moving together as a nation together? Does she want to become that oppositional MP and say, open the borders, yada, yada, yada? And it seems like she never found that channel. And I wonder, and I think we should have a look at the 6 contenders that people are already talking about. I wonder if what needs to, this sounds weird because I'm not a supporter of this concept, but what needs to happen for National to improve in the polls is they need to get anti-mask, anti-vaccine, because there are people out there at the moment who are looking for that as their as their thing, and everyone at the moment is agreeing. Now, what I'm saying is I agree that everyone's agreeing. I agree that we shouldn't be anti-mask and anti-vaccine, but it seems that has been successful for oppositional right-wing parties around the world, and perhaps what National will have to do is take up that position of, open the businesses, don't wear masks if they want to go up in the polls. Now, that's a shitty position to take, but it seems that Judith sort of agreeing with the direction of the country at the moment certainly hasn't worked for them in the polls, so they need to do something else.
Have they been doing that though? It really seems to me that she's been pitching it going harder right, and the ACT are essentially doing that better. So they're losing their middle, the centrist voters, and they're losing their hardcore.
I think their messaging has been unclear. Like, I think that on day one, Judith will come out and sound like she is very, 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 we're on board as a nation. We're with the government almost. Not that they're using her words. And then I think the next day it's like, I'm going to go shake hands with everyone not wearing a mask. I'm not sure whether she literally did that, but that's the vibe. And it's like, let's support the mandate. Let's support, not support the mandate. Let's support being safe borders. Let's open the borders. To me, it felt like, especially the last 6 months, it's like, because Labor's been doing so well in the polls, that is, like from the population, that National's been testing things. What if we put this message out? Oh no, that has. What if we put the? Oh no, like what if we kind of support the government a little bit? Maybe, oh no, that hasn't worked, and that's what it feels like. It feels like they've tried a few things here and there, and nothing's worked. But all I've got from it is an inconsistent message, and I don't know what the fuck they stand for. And that's probably a reason as well as why people have gone to ACT, because love them or hate them, you know where they stand, you know where their messaging is.
Well, I think that's the flip side of trying to do populism. John Key, for all of his faults, was very good at that. He felt like a very centrist sort of. He had that vibe going for him, where Judith never has. I think she's stuck too much in her own echo chamber, the way that she won't hear contrary points of view. She's only listening to the people that agree with her anyway. So she's not really growing her audience. She's not gaining people over to her side. She's just talking to the choir, her choir.
Well, look, speaking of John Key, let's have a look at the Herald. Put this out 7:00 tonight, having a look at the people they're already talking about for leadership challenges, the people who are going to perhaps take the role. And the reason I say talk about John Key is because obviously a lot of people are talking about Christopher Luxon, he's been dubbed the new John Key. Look, I think he's the deal. I reckon I'll happily put a small wager on Christopher Luxon being the next leader, because I think the old
talking about him.
Well, I think the old he'd look to him and say he could do what John Key did. And I think
talked about him before he was an MP. He's only been in there 12 months.
Yeah, no, but I think that's now. I mean, when John Key became leader, he'd only been there for a short time. And look around the world, is what's happening with people leading countries who haven't been involved with politics at all, or for a very short time, up to and including Obama. He'd only been around for a short time. I don't think that matters anymore. I haven't been in politics. In fact, for some people, it's a benefit of not being there so far. So I think that Christopher Luxon, the former CEO of Air New Zealand, will be the deal. But the other ones that they are talking about is Mark Mitchell, the third-time lucky guy, they're calling him. Obviously, dancing around Tauranga, Simon Bridges. They've dubbed the Lazarus. What about Nicola Willis? I don't know too much about Nicola Willis, but Wellington-born and raised Nicola Willis entered Parliament in 2018 on the list, and she played a key role in the Simon Bridges coup last year, working behind the scenes with her old Victoria University debating mate Chris Bishop.
She's done some interesting stuff about housing. I think she's actually had some pretty on-the-ball analysis. That's been her main focus that I've seen. I think Luxon, if it's Luxon, he'll get eaten alive. To throw a relative rookie, well, it even says they're rookie, up against Jacinda Ardern at the moment would be a bloodbath.
Look, I what I feel is I think and you and I have talked about this several times in this big hairy news we do, is that I think there comes a point in the love for Labour where the country goes, all right, I've had enough of this pandemic. I think that point's really fucking close. And I think if Labour gets it wrong, those people who are sort of sitting in the middle, who might be more natural national voters who gave, Labour the tick last time because of the pandemic, will rip away. And I think you'll see whoever leads national, the numbers jump, because it feels like Judith Collins wasn't particularly liked. And I know that shouldn't matter in politics, but it is still a popularity contest. And I think that that whoever they bring in, unless it's maybe Simon Bridges, because he's a bit of an old hat, but whoever they bring in, the party will get a bump, in my opinion.
I think whoever goes in,
Chris Bishop's the other one, by the way, that they're talking about.
Yeah, no, I can't see him being effective either. I think whoever it is, like I personally would say Shane Reti. I mean, he's already there. He seems to be a reasonably safe pair of hands, and maybe he holds on to it. But I think whoever it is, they have to almost go into their caucus and go, I'm not going to win this next time round, but I'll have a decent crack at the election after that. I think it's the risk that they're running is much like Judith saying, I'm going to be the next prime minister. If they don't get it and then they roll through another leader. I mean, at the moment, Ardern has seen off more contenders than any other prime minister in history.
Yeah. I just really think that, I mean, this is going to sound real pessimistic and not a particularly good judge on who National are. But I really think that whoever takes the leadership role is going to have to move away, even if it's not as black and white as I'm painting it, but move away from the support of the success that Labour has had for the COVID situation. And Shane Reti is a general practitioner who worked as a doctor for the Northern District Health Board. And I think that him as leader would struggle distancing himself from the good work that's been done around COVID. Even though there's some criticisms as well. I'm not rose-tinted glasses here. I know I'm sounding a bit of a pessimist, like I'm not trying to say that this is a good thing I'm saying, but I think they need National to go up in the polls, and I'm just talking about the polling of it. I'm not even talking about if this is good or bad. Well, it is bad, but to go up in the polls, they need to find a way to distance themselves from the success that Labour's had with COVID. I don't think you're going to be able to do that with a general practitioner at the head, because unless they're a member of the nutty, NZDSOS, which he's not, then I don't know how that could do anything other than just continue for us to remember all that freedom we had under Labour to give them that landslide last time.
I think the other thing that concerns me about Luxton is isn't he part of that evangelical group of national MPs?
Oh, is he Gotti? Is he?
Yeah, he's one. When he went into Parliament, if I'm remembering this correctly, his pastor ended up having to go back and delete pages and pages and pages out of his church's website and recordings of sermons and that sort of thing like that. Real evangelical Pentecostal type thing. I thought he was part of that group. I mean, Shane Reti has voted against abortion legalization, end of life, conversion therapy, that sort of thing. So, I mean, I think it's really important that we look at what these guys' voting record is. And maybe it is someone like Nicola or Bishop and that sort of thing, the younger ideas that need to come out from some of the older guys. And maybe they need to stop reading from the hymn book as much. Who knows? But certainly crazy stuff today.
All right, dude. I guess we'll just wait and see what happened from here on in. Because it's gonna. I mean, what are we next year? 2022. So is the election in 2022? We were 2019.
2023, I think.
2023. So there's still plenty of time. So that's also something. I mean, I think that works both pro and against. I mean, if you are a good, solid candidate, then you can build up a good following over that period. But often if you get in with a year to go, your foibles don't get found out quite as easily. So we'll
it's a year to build consensus and order within your party and show the voters that, hey, look, I'm a safe pair of hands and I have the team behind me and we're all pulling in the same direction. I don't think that's something that Collins had. Collins had, I had the party in my fist.
Yeah.
And she didn't.
Yeah. All right. Finishing off with thinking about pulling, it's probably a good thing not to go back to Simon Bridges' comments. I'll show you something. And this is a bit inappropriate. Originally, when I made the thumbnail for this one here, I had sorry, her name's just jumped out of my head. Jackie Dean sitting where Reti is in here. And I thought, no, actually, from the comments that has been made, it'll be a bit inappropriate to have Jackie Dean sitting in front of Mr. Bridges. So I took that away and changed it around a little bit as well. Hey, Chewy, good to chat to you. Good to see what's going to happen for here on in. And I guess we'll keep an eye on stuff. If you're interested in knowing more about what this is, BHN, Big Hairy News, we kind of sporadically jump on and do a bit of a live stream. You're welcome to interact and participate with us. If you go to DOCNZ Studios, I probably should have put that up on the banner like a professional would have. If you go here, this is the place to best see us. It's a video only sort of broadcast. We don't do the audio, it's just video. Go to the DOCNZ Studios YouTube channel to check us out. You can follow both myself and Chewy on Twitter. There it is there. And if you want to see any of the footage from this, they can be seen on there as well. I think we're done. All right, the Chew Meister. How's that dog of yours?
Sleeping. She's very tired.
Still only got half legs?
Yeah, hasn't grown. I keep on trying to stretch them. She doesn't seem to dig it.
All right, brother. We will talk to you real soon. And the DOCNZ Studios on YouTube, and there's our Twitter handles if you want to follow us as well. See you later.
Cheers.